See your hands again. They're all clean hands. I'm washing them. Let me hear it if you've had the Pfizer vaccine. Let me hear it from Moderna. AstraZeneca. Let's hear it from the anti-vaxxers.
Are you in a cult? Or rather, do you know someone who may be in a cult? Since March 2020, people around the world have been acting very strange, to say the least. The world as we knew it before seems almost unrecognisable today. And this would not have been possible without the compliance of the general public. Over the past 2 years, I have witnessed people develop astronomical fear over something that was once considered a general inconvenience. From one illogical, ridiculous rule to the next, people have not only just willingly followed along, but they have done so with glee and enthusiasm. These people wear their muzzle with pride and ridicule anyone who dares to step out of line. Literally. You may have had your suspicions when this all began that something wasn't quite right, and by now you know that something very sinister is afoot. The problem is that no matter how much research and undeniable evidence you present, it all falls on deaf ears. It's almost as if when you start presenting a counter-argument to the narrative, the person you're speaking to suddenly develops an empty gaze. You can tell that they're not quite listening. Sometimes their response can be hostile, and sometimes they will actually agree with you and then contradict themselves in the next sentence, almost as if that belief system is the default mode. So you might be wondering, how is this level of cognitive dissonance possible? How is it possible for someone to willingly hand over their livelihood and freedom all because someone on the television told them so? How is it possible for someone to believe a lie even after they have seen evidence that it isn't true? How is it possible for a person to trust a random stranger that they've never met versus someone that they've known all of their life? All of these things are possible when mind control and brainwashing tactics are in use. In this video, I'm going to show you how the mainstream media uses these tactics to manipulate the general public. These tactics are the blueprint for cult indoctrination. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Melody. So if you're already a subscriber, you will have already seen my videos about brainwashing and manipulation tactics. Those videos were a reference point to cult indoctrination tactics. What I'm going to do is highlight some of the bullet points that were discussed in those videos and relate them to what's going on right now. I know that so many people that comment on my channel say, I don't understand. My friends and family have disowned me because of their newfound belief systems that were developed in 2020, and no matter how much I try to talk to them, they just think that I'm crazy. I am of the belief that what is going on right now is complete hypnosis. So let's just jump into it, shall we? Hypnosis plays a huge role in getting people to adopt certain belief systems that don't make sense. One very prominent tactic is monotonous speaking. Just to refresh your mind, this is what it says in the article that I referenced in the previous video. A voice roll is a patterned, paced style used by hypnotists when inducing a trance. A voice roll can sound as if the speaker were talking to the beat of a metronome, or it may sound as though he or she were emphasizing every word in a monotonous, patterned style. I remember in 2020 when the UK leaders did daily press conferences. Now, every different country had their own version of this. I'm based in the UK. For me, I found these press conferences to be mind-blowingly monotonous, incredibly boring, I do remember watching them and feeling like I was going in a trance. And there was a lot of repetition of certain catchphrases, but everything in between was just noise.
What you can see again is that the very steep upward climb that there was up to the earlier part of this month has now flattened off. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
I always have a gripe when people pick a public speaker that is boring, because surely you want people to be alert. Actually, be alert was one of the catchphrases. I watched these press conferences out of general curiosity, not because I believed the narrative, but because I wanted to understand what they were saying to the general public to make this whole thing blow up like it did. Okay, there's a lot of tactics to get through, so I'm just going to jump to the second one. Group peer pressure. Suppressing doubt and resistance to new ideas by exploiting the need to belong.
Anti-vax Barbie. It's anti-vax Barbie. She doesn't trust science.
Bill Gates is the Antichrist. Vaccines have Satan's blood.
Barbie comes with a computer so she can do her own research.
I'm sorry, you can't come in here without a mask. I have a medical condition. I'm recording this.
How many people, show of hands, felt ostracised by the people that were believing this whole thing? How many people felt shunned for not abiding by the rules? The level of peer pressure during this whole thing is absolutely undeniable. Next one, love bombing. Now, do you remember at the beginning of this whole thing the phrase, "we're in this together"? The whole stay-at-home slogan, and how even though we're all being separated physically, we all connected online. Everybody was putting hashtag stay at home. I would say it was a very strange period of my life because it was almost as if everyone had gone into fight or flight. Some people literally felt like the world was going to end, and what it caused was this sense of togetherness, that everybody in the world was all experiencing this at the same time. With the media, they capitalised on it by putting together online concerts with all the big artists, singing all these songs of togetherness and all these commercials with emotionally pulling music and the constant reiteration of the phrase, "we're in this together."
We are one family, and we need you.
The next one is rejection of old values, accelerating acceptance of the new lifestyle by constantly denouncing former beliefs and values. Do I even need to elaborate? Confusing doctrine! Encouraging blind acceptance and rejection of logic through complex lectures on an incomprehensible doctrine. Meta-communication. Implanting subliminal messages by stressing certain key words or phrases in long, confusing lectures. I really didn't want to be highlighting every single one of these techniques, but so far it's ticking all of the boxes. Removal of privacy. Well, this is something that's been going on a grand scale for a long time. Privacy is a huge thing that we talk about when it's to do with online privacy. The technology that we have is a complete invasion of our privacy. But in addition to this, like it says here, achieving loss of ability to evaluate logically by preventing private contemplation. The level of media hype and bombardment, notifications from the news app, the abrupt change of our life as we knew it, this all contributes to eliminating your private contemplation, because I don't think anybody would disagree that the subject matter of this thing took over our lives completely. There is no ability for private contemplation when you are bombarded 24/7 with fear. Encouraging childlike obedience by orchestrating childlike behaviour. Uncompromising rules. Tick verbal abuse.
Zero for the anti-vaxxers.
Who's not going to take the vaccine because they think it might be dangerous? Raise your hands. Now take that hand and slap yourself in the fucking face.
Hands up, how many people have actually had arguments in the supermarket or had some erratic person with a muzzle go absolutely crazy at you because you're not in the line or you're not on the magic marker that's on the floor? I have actually had plenty of my own beyond heated discussions with followers of this cult that have literally said that I am mentally insane for questioning authority. Moving on, dress codes. Tick, chanting or singing. Tick, financial commitment. Now. This was a sneaky one. This time the cult didn't need to ask for donations because they actually hold the money bag. What they did instead was get people to shut down their business in the name of safety, causing you to go broke. I think at this point nobody can deny that the people at the top of this cult were benefiting financially from this situation in many, many different ways, while many, many, many people incurred financial loss on a grand scale. Finger pointing.
Now take that hand and slap yourself in the fucking face.
Games. Now, why do I say that? Most of the rules and regulations appeared to be that of a game because most of the rules didn't actually make any sense whatsoever. After seeing the mainstream media post multiple articles contradicting itself, it was easy to come to the conclusion that the rules that were being presented to us did not hold any scientific proof or validity. And I would confidently say that every single one of my subscribers is and was aware that these rules were simply put in place to test the public's level of obedience. Next one, no questions. Accomplishing automatic acceptance of beliefs by discouraging questions. Wow. Trust the science. Guilt. How many times have you been told that you are putting people at risk? You're putting your family at risk, your grandparents, your children, everyone. You are the reason. The level of guilt tripping during this whole thing was absolutely undeniable. In fact, most of the motive for people abiding by these rules was guilt. And last but not least, fear. Now, unfortunately for the cult leaders, I think they've blown their cover on this one because at first, fear was the number one tactic for such a long time. Now, it's not quite working because people are starting to wake up. If you think that this video could wake up someone who you know who may be in this cult, definitely share it with them. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop me a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Love you, bye.